When people think of Bangladesh, they often think of its vast rural and agricultural land, making up over 60% of the country. But a majority of the country's opportunities lie in the factories and the cities. The largest industry in Bangladesh is the garment industry. It makes up over 40% of Bangladesh's workforce, and its standards and salaries dictate the quality of life for many Bangladesh workers who often don't have many other options for employment. Fast fashion is defined as inexpensive clothing produced rapidly by mass market retailers in response to the latest trends. It is a controversial industry that has global social, economic, and environmental impacts. This video will use both the social and economic perspectives to investigate the extent that fast fashion and our consumption of its impact economically on Bangladesh, as well as the changes it has brought into the cultural flows. To do so, we need to ask, how bad are the labor conditions? How much are they paid, and is that livable? What is the economic effect, and what is the social effect? A tragic example of the terrible conditions of fast fashion is the Rana Plaza. It was a factory that collapsed, killing 1,134 people. It was a preventable tragedy that brought some spotlight to the issues and labor conditions of fast fashion, most of which have yet to be fixed. The fast fashion industry refuses to pay its workers anything close to a livable or fair wage. The average salary of a garment worker is 3,000 taka. A livable wage has been classified as 5,000 taka per month. That salary is not nearly enough for a garment worker to sustain themselves or their families. This statistic came from an article called A Study of Major Causes of Labor Unrest and Its Effect on the RMG Sector of Bangladesh. This source caused me to investigate the economic disparity of garment workers. It also clearly demonstrated the economic crisis garment workers are facing. Bangladesh, as a country, is extremely reliant on the fast fashion industry. It has over 5,000 factories in the country, and with garments being the largest export, Bangladesh is reliant on the industry being as profitable as it can be, often to the detriment of its own citizens. Fast fashion not only affects its workers, but it has socially changed the world. Globally, it promotes a throwaway culture that is detrimental to our environment. In Bangladesh, it creates an expendable workplace culture and furthers economic inequality. Fast fashion is dangerous in impeding its spend for its workers. It has served as a place for the beginning of a feminist movement. Women are working at higher rates than ever. The United States, a global average of percent of women in the workplace, has been falling over the last 20 years, while Bangladesh's has been steadily rising. This illustrates the growing social change and feminist movement that's hitting Bangladesh. Gender equality is spreading, and women in the workplace are greatly responsible for that. Another positive change for garment workers is an increase in education. Garment workers now have, on average, a year more of education than their peers. While workers in the garment industry have seen improvement in their treatment, the garment industry is still holding its workers back and preventing the needed social change. To figure out why we contribute to the garment industry of Bangladesh and don't demand change despite its cruelty to its workers' labor conditions and its unfair wages, I interviewed a student from Michigan State University.
My name is Greg Glasser. I'm a freshman here at Michigan State University. I'm from Milford, Michigan, and I'm 18.
How often do you purchase fast fashion?
I'd say about once every 2 weeks.
Would you say you're an average consumer of fast fashion?
I'd say I'm a little under the average consumer. I think the average consumer for fast fashion probably buys a little more than me.
What brands do you typically consume?
Supreme and Palace.
Where do you think fast fashion is produced?
I mean, I think a lot of it is made in China or overseas and then shipped to the U.S. and marked up and sold at a huge markup.
And what do you think the conditions of fast fashion workers are?
I'm sure they're pretty terrible, sweatshop type stuff.
Do we have a social responsibility to be conscious consumers?
I think it depends on your point of view. And I think we should have some, I think we should, yeah, on some level. I don't think we should be able to control what other countries are doing because we don't want to interfere with their country like that. But I think if we're selling the product in our state, in our states, we should have at least some standards.
Does knowing about the low wages and terrible labor conditions of fast fashion workers make you reconsider purchasing fast fashion in the future?
Not really, because I mean, where else would I get fast fashion? There's really no other option. If there was another option that didn't include sweatshops and terrible working conditions, I'd definitely go there. But there's really no other option right now, so probably not.
Bangladesh is one of the largest exporters of fast fashion. What do you think we as consumers should do to help the garment workers?
I mean, I think we could tariff the goods that are coming in to punish the government, I guess, and try to force them to like have better working conditions. I mean, we could try like a diplomatic approach, like just try talking to them.
The fast fashion industry changing, its workers still suffer from unlivable wages, poor labor conditions, and unfair treatment. Bangladesh is making strides towards social equality as a result of women working hard in the garment industry, not as a result of the industry itself. Fast fashion will continue to be detrimental to Bangladesh's people until they are paid fair wages for their labor. Until then, the global exploitation of Bangladesh will continue.